Hey everybody, welcome back to Battle Ready Inc. So this is going to be my last deck profile for the 1.5 format. This is going to be the McDonald's deck or red-yellow control. And this deck is just incredibly popular right now. Lots of people are having great success with it. So I just imagine it's going to keep getting played all the way into BT4. And honestly, it has a pretty good matchup in BT4 also. I think it's going to see a lot of continued play all the way into a good bit of BT4. Either people are going to get just tired of it and want to play something different, or someone's going to think up something newer and crazier than even this. So, but until then, we're going to keep on rocking this deck, honestly. Also, remember, this is going to be your last chance now to get these the memory counters. This is going to be the Omnimon. This is going to be for May, our May memory counter for Patreon. So make sure you check that link in the description below for the Patreon. And this is going to be one of the tiers, so definitely check that out. Once it's gone, that's it. So you're going to have to find another way to get these guys. All right. So May is here at this point. So if you haven't got one yet, or haven't got on the Patreon yet, you've literally got just a few days left. Okay, so jumping into this right off the bat, yes, we have 54 out of 50 cards. There's a reason for that. There's just some ratios. There were some cards I wanted to throw in at the end, just to, kind of where you want to adjust your ratios, you can kind of do that. I feel like every card that I've listed is really relevant. You just got to figure out what to cut where to add in something else somewhere else. So it's more of like a personal preference, on what you prefer ultimately, what works best for you and what you think works the best for the deck. Okay, so jumping right in here, I have the 4 Omnimon, only 4 Omnimon and not a 5th egg. I know this deck is incredibly grindy, but honestly, the only thing you're realistically digivolving into is the 4 Salamon. You're going to digivolve into this Salamon relatively early and probably sit on it, possibly. The Patamon, you're going to hold your Patamons in hand until you need them, until you do their on-play effect. Occasionally, you'll need to digivolve into your Patamons, okay? I'm not saying, this is the perfect world where you'll only digivolve the 4 Salamons onto the 4 Omnimons. No, that's not how it's going to happen. So you can use the Patamons to digivolve for just draw power, just that digivolve alone. Especially if you get multiple Patamons in hand. I like to keep one Patamon on hand just in case my opponent swings for a whole bunch but can't quite kill me. Then I've at least got the Patamon to hard play to get that recovery. But once you get 2 or heaven forbid 3 Patamons in hand, yeah, go ahead and start digivolving those for more draw power. I just found myself sitting at 3 security so often that sitting at 5 or more just never happened. Unless that was my first egg on that Cupimon, then it just wasn't worth it. So I think just the consistency of the 4 Omnimon, I'd rather just always make sure I have the Omnimon ready to digivolve onto whichever, whenever it comes up. So it's just way more live, it feels like. So then we did discuss the Patamon there and when to play that. Definitely a 4 of on the Patamon. Love this Patamon, the promo one from 0.0. Just a great impact card. Salamon also. Salamon didn't see, I don't think it's, at least not that I noticed, didn't see a whole lot of play early on. But then just more and more recently, and now every yellow deck forever always has Salamon, because yeah, it's amazing. You definitely want to make sure you can digivolve with it for the 0 cost, but yeah, I mean, recovery +1, who doesn't like recovery on security no matter what? Next up for our level 4 package here, I've got the security Digimon. A lot of people only run the 4 Greymon, but some people do run the Ankylomon, and honestly, whenever I played this deck, I missed having the Ankylomon in here for sure. Just because having a security Digimon get hit in security is insane. Just the value off of that, it comes onto the field and you get a swing and clear a security. Yeah, so much value in security Digimon that I didn't place before. Mainly my issue with security Digimon before was, okay, in a normal game with a normal deck, you're going to have 5 chances out of 50 cards to have one of these security Digimon in there. And it is really going to have just one in there at a chance be that worth it? Not really. you know, for the color of that deck you're playing. It never really felt like consistent enough to warrant that. But with this deck, with the insane amount of recovery you're doing, the chances of putting a 1 or 2 or 3 security into your security, like the chances of one getting put there, is just really good. I mean, you should. Mathematically, if you put, you know, you start with 5 and you do recovery 10 more throughout the game, you should definitely get at least 1, you know, hopefully 2 or 3 security Digimon to pop off. And I just really wish I had the Ankylomon whenever I played the deck before, so I'm putting it in here now. I'm only putting it as a 2 of because it's not that important. Like the Greymon is incredibly important because you need the red on field to be able to activate cards like Gaia Force and things like that. So having red on field, if you don't have a Tamer yet, you know, this is another way to get there, whether it be hard playing the Greymon or if it just hits off. You know, whatever you got to do, sometimes to get a red on field to trigger your option cards, you got to do what you got to do. So this is just the main of the 2 here is the Greymon. Next up, we got the Magna Angemon, which is just more recovery. Like, the point of this deck is just to recover as much security as possible, and so your opponent just keeps hitting into it and triggering off all your big removal. Or they hit into something, you know, maybe like a Magnagramon that's relatively big, or a Seraphimon or something like that. They hit into it and then they kill themselves. So that's kind of the idea here, but mainly you want them to hit the options and trigger your options. So just doing as much recovery as possible, and Magna Angemon is a super way to do it. 7 cost, and it's a body on field. We have a couple level 6s that it's very important to Digivolve into those to trigger their abilities, and Magna Angemon is one of our ways that we get a level 5 on field to do that. You'll never Digivolve on top of the Ankylomon, okay? I'll just pretty much throw that out there. I mean, 9 times out of 10, okay, I'll leave a 1 out of 10 chance that you might need a Digivolve. Maybe it's a memory issue that, you know, you've only got like 5 memory to work with, and you need to Digivolve the Magna Angemon and then Digivolve into something else on top of the Magna Angemon because of the memory issue you're having, and you can't do the hard play. But ideally, hard play the Magna Angemon. So next up we have the Mistymon here. This is mostly here for the Rookie Rush matchup. In the English format, just Rookie Rush is everywhere. We like aggressive decks, okay? We like to just go super fast and, you know, win fast, lose fast, whatever it happens. And Mistymon is kind of there to shut down the Rookie Rush players. Spoiler, we do also have Lightning Paw in here for a little bit of addedness to it, but still pretty good. Also, not even just Rookie Rush, but minus 3,000 or something. There was a couple situations where I had to do the Mistymon playing against Mega Zoo, right? I had to drop a Mistymon for 7, and then drop 7th Heavens on top of that to kill a 12k. So just, you know, sometimes you got to combo it like that to get the outcome you need. Just, it sucks when you have to do 2 big cost things like that to kill 1, but like I said, sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do. Also, it's another level 5 on field for our level 6s here. I've only got these guys at a 2 of, mainly because, yes, you have to Digivolve them to get their, like, effects, right? You don't want to be hard playing these guys because there's no real point to. The Slash Angemon is great for killing big stuff, or just kill anything 8,000 or less that needs to be removed, say a blocker, something like that, and then he's a body on field that you can attack with. Or again, you can minus 8,000 on something big that's suspended, and then swing over it with Slash Angemon, and still, you know, you still clear a big body with only 3 memory spent doing it, which is really, really good. Slash Angemon is just a Digimon that's going to keep seeing play, even into BT4, especially in BT4. You're going to see a lot of Slash Angemon in BT4, so just a really, really cool card. On top, next to him, we've got the Seraphimon here. Also at a 2 of, because again, we need to Digivolve these, and we only have 6 targets in the deck that we can Digivolve on top of to trigger these guys. So I didn't want to like go too overboard and play like, you know, 3 and 3 and have 6 copies and only have 7 things to Digivolve on top of, or 6 things to Digivolve on top of. Sorry. So you've got, you know, 6 and 6 is just I don't like it. So I'd rather go 6 and 4. That feels a little bit more comfortable for me. But Seraphimon's got the recovery +1 on Digivolve. I mean, that's just great. So more recovery. We love our recovery in this deck. It's just phenomenal. That's how the deck functions. And a 3 cost to do that. I mean, that's pretty cheap. I mean, it's not the best that we can get for level 6, But for an effect, that's pretty on par, pretty standard here as a 3 evolution. And for the recovery, also security attack +1 if while you have 3 or more security cards. So you're pretty much always keeping yourself at 3. 3 is a pretty comfortable number to sit at because you're triggering a lot of effects when you're sitting at 3. So Seraphimon being live at that point is pretty normal. Granted, he is only 10,000, but hey, if you can at least get him on top of the Magna Angemon, you can get him up to 11. And 11 at least swings over a lot of level 6s. So there's a lot of 10k level 6s running around, especially like this, or Mega Zoo running, well, maybe not Mega Zoo quite so much, but a few things. But at least in the mirror match, you'll at least swing over, you know, like the Magna Dramons and anything like that. Or if they're playing Volcanic Dramon, you can also swing over that. Speaking of Magna Dramon, we are definitely playing Magna Dramon at a 4 of. This is just a phenomenal card in this deck. Recovery +2 for that on play. I mean, really, I mean, compared to the Magna, which is 7, for only 4 more, you get double. I feel like a car salesman here, but you get double the value for only 4 more memory. That's just really great. Granted, there's a stipulation of you have to have 3 or fewer security to be able to do this. Also, when attacking, you may play a level 3 Digimon from your hand without paying its memory cost. That's really cool. You can combine this with your rookies. So these big 4-cost rookies here that we were playing, that we wish we could Digivolve Patamon to get his ability, but that's not how things work. So on play, then we're gonna trigger the Patamon in combination with the Magnadramon here. That's really cool. Also, just getting another Palmon, or not Palmon, getting another Salamon on field just to be able to attack when needed. Again, if you have 3 or fewer, so if you're triggering Magnadramon, you're going to be in that kind of comfortable area. So getting a Salamon on field with Magnadramon is pretty good value for sure. So great addition to the deck. I mean, really, I wouldn't say it's the bread and butter of the deck. It kind of all works together nicely, but is a major highlight for the deck. All right, next up is our Tamers. And this is, I would say at this point, is where the ratios really start to flex depending on the player. I've got the 3 tie in here just because we play a fair amount of red options, so we need to get something red on field as fast as possible. He is only a 2 cost. Also, he combos really nicely with these 10k DP. Like I said, you really want to at least get that 1000 buff on there, so that way you can at least swing over the mirror. And Ty does great for that because it's all your Digimon. It's not just red, so he combos great with this. And again, the 3 here with the 4 Greymon should hopefully be enough to get you something red early on, so that way you can start playing those red options if you need to, like immediately in the first couple turns. So that's kind of why I have the numbers like they do. Some people only play 2, and I'm just going to throw that out there. That is a possibility. It's just the lesser you go, the less consistent you're going to be. However, if you're relying on your red options just to be in security, then it's less important to have a lot of ties. So just keep that in mind. I have the 3 TKs in here. 1, memory fixers are just amazing in anything. You have a lot of stuff that if you need to Digivolve, these are 3-cost Digivolves, right? So that's really kind of important to be able to Digivolve into these guys and still swing with them. So TK is great for that, as well as, you get to fix your security. That is so crucial. Take out your Magnadramons. Put your Magnadramons in your hand. Any kind of recovery, on-play recovery, put that in your hand. Most of your Digimon up here, you're going to, except for your security ones, of course, you're going to want to pull these guys out and put them in your hand. And when you do that, make sure it's yellow, and you'll get to recovery R1, okay? So that's really important, is to get that recovery, and now you're setting something new to replace that. Maybe something more valuable, like a Gaia Force, or just any kind of removal to go in there in place. And that's what the TK is for, is just to fix that. Spoiler, there is a Glorious Burst or 2 in here, and whenever I played TK in the match that I posted on Tuesday, I played the TK, and there was 2 Glorious Bursts in there. If you don't know why I'm complaining about this, it's because it has no security effect. Normally, minus 12,000 DP is what it does, right? but no security effects. So it just goes straight to the trash. Your opponent gets a free check, essentially, with 0 repercussions. Yeah, make sure you pull your Glorious Burst out, and it's so frustrating. So that's why I've got the TKs in here. The 3 of, mainly because you just kind of want to draw into it relatively soon to fix your memory. However, a lot of this stuff in this deck is very much a play it and pass your turn kind of style. So maybe the memory fixing isn't that important, or maybe the fixing your security isn't that important. You say, well, I might want to fix my security, once, maybe twice in this deck, just to make sure there's nothing too bad in there, like a Glorious Burst, so I can pull it out. So maybe you want to cut your TKs down to 2. I understand, okay? And that's just, both of these guys could be cut down to 2, potentially. It just depends on the player. All right, now we're going to get into our removal here. Already covered it. We have the 4 Gaia Force. Gaia Force is the best removal pretty much in this game. Sure, it doesn't, some stuff can dodge the destruction effects, and so there's things better. But honestly, I mean, it's just a nice blanket removal. Take care of it, get the job done, move on. It's great. It triggers insecurity. I mean, that's just phenomenal. Especially if there's like a Ragna that's checking you for 5 security, and they hit into a Gaia Force like 1 or 2 checks in, and then boom, it's gone. So that's great. However, if you had like a DP minus like 7th Heavens on a Ragna, then it keeps going, right? So it's going to get another check. Even if that next check kills it, it's still got to do 1 more check on you because you couldn't minus the whole DP on it. But yeah, so we do have the 7th Heavens here. I do have it as a 3 of. I want to run it as a 4 of. Just the ratios are, like I said, the ratios are a bit off. It's just hard to fit it in. One of the things that kind of threw me off was of a couple of things I included in here was like Ankylomon wasn't in the original build, but I really missed having more security Digimon. If I could just run more Greymon, that would be great. Then I could just cut more ties, and I wouldn't feel so bad about cutting tie. But yeah, so 7th Heaven, still minus 10,000. That's going to kill a lot of your opponent's megas and below, like a lot of the general kind of like lower end megas at least, and then everything else below that. Also, at 7, it's you can combine it. Like I said, you could do the Mistymon for minus 3, and then the 7th Heavens on top of that. At that point, you're killing all the 12Ks that are in the game, and there's a lot of 12Ks megas, okay? So, 3 of feels solid. 4 of also feels very, very good. Like I said, 7 cost isn't too bad, at least. I've got the 1 Lightning Paw in here. It's nice if it hits in security. It doesn't always do much when it hits in security, depending on the deck you're playing against. But it is a nice to have just kind of in hand, just draw into it and then just hold on to it until you need it kind of thing. You're only going to be killing rookies with it, so it's mainly for the Rookie Rush matchup. If you don't have really anyone playing Rookie Rush in your locals, you could maybe drop the Lightning Paw. I haven't met anyone that says they don't have many Rookie Rush players in their locals, so I think it's pretty a safe staple in a lot of yellow decks right now. It's at least out of 1 of. Some people are running it as 2 of. If you can find the space, if you want to cut somewhere to add in a second Lightning Paw, I definitely understand. All right, moving on to our next set of removal. I do have the Glorious Burst in here. I did cut it down. I think in the original build I had it at like 3 or 4, but again, it doesn't trigger insecurity, and I hate that. So I prefer things that are going to trigger insecurity, that have security effects. Add it to hand at least, or activate is like the main primary thing that you really want to see. But yeah, so you can make it a little bit less. As a couple people pointed out in my video from earlier this week, I did mess up. I was counting red Tamers for this, but it specifically says it has to be yellow Tamers to reduce its cost. So even if you have all 3 TKs on field, at most it's going to be still a 6 cost, which isn't too bad. Minus 12,000 is so good, though. I can't cut this completely. Like I said, you can have it in security, and with the TKs, you can at least pull it out. As a 2 of, you shouldn't see multiple copies in your security like I did at least. But yeah, minus 12,000 is just too good not to have, okay? There's too much 12K megas in this game for it to not want to run Glorious Burst. It's just too powerful and to handle those. I'd rather have the Glorious Burst than have to do that combo with 7th Heavens and Mistymon. That's 14 memory over the 6 to 9 memory of this to do the same thing, okay? Also, that takes, I have to have 2 cards in my hand to get this combo off, whereas this is just a 1 card I need. So moving on, we got Eden's Javelin. I love the Eden's Javelin. A issue though is that this deck does not draw. Okay, does not draw well. You need to get your Upamons going, but it's hard to get your Upamons going because you're swinging in with these rookies that are just dying. Okay, so I mean, are you getting really enough value out of those? You might get 1 Upamon draw per swing, right? Because well, of course per swing, but you know, per Digimon, just because you're not going to get multiple swings off of those. So getting lots of cards in your hand to get this like really crazy high -1000 just isn't there. It's good. I like it still though. It's a good draw. I can usually do like a 4 or 5k hit, which will kill some stuff or at least put it in killable range. In my matches, I had several situations where I would draw 2 turns in a row. I dropped an Eden's Javelin onto a Craniumon, right? And then my Magnadramon could keep swinging because he couldn't block unless he wanted his Craniumon to die. So it just at least put me in swinging range, and if they wanted to block, you know, they would have to lose their blocker to do it. Big blockers too, mega blockers. So that's very, very like important to note. Also, like Aragna, if they want to block over Aragna, they're going to lose their big like tentpole piece. So also activate in security. So again, activating security is very important. Next, we got the Plasma Strike. Plasma Stake, not Strike. This thing was awesome. Okay, 4 cost to kill what you essentially want to drop a Gaia Force on. Typically, you're dropping Gaia Forces on Megas, right? You don't want to typically drop Gaia Force on a level 5 or below. So 6s and 7s, you know, 6 is a little bit harder, but 7s, that's where you want to drop your Gaia Forces, and this is half the cost of that to do the same thing. And it activates in security, so it's still just as good. Yeah, this thing, like, I only have it as a 1-of, because again, you're not going to get too many situations where you can play this, but you can at least have the 1 in your hand. You don't have to worry about drawing into more dead copies, but you have the 1 for when you need it, okay? So you can just hold on to it until the moment arises. So definitely enjoyed having it as a 1-of. Felt very, very comfortable having it there. Alright, and our last set of cards here is Shield of the Just. So main effect, it's a 6 cost to delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 5,000 DP or less. Okay. If you have a red Tamer in play, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 8,000 DP or less. So if you're running the 3 ties, this feels pretty solid. If you're running only 2 ties, you might consider cutting this. 6 cost is a hefty amount for kind of a little, like, not so great a payoff. Most people are only running this as a 1-of if they're running it at all. I couldn't imagine running more copies than this of Shield of the Just. Just because, I mean, what could you run in place of this? You know, so Eden's Javelin here is the same cost. We get a draw, which is essentially will still get us roughly to about the 5,000 mark, usually. So you're getting same cost, same, you know, kill power, at least at the lower levels, and you get a draw. Beyond that, you know, we've got other stuff. For 1 more cost, literally 1 more DP, I could drop that, add in a 4th 7th Heaven here to minus 10,000 DP. So that's essentially killing, you know, the 5 or the 8 or a 10. You know, there's just, I feel like 7th Heavens is better. Okay, sure, it's yellow, it's not red, so for whatever reason, I don't think there's a way that you couldn't play 7th Heavens with, at least with the babies that you have, right? You should at least have something in raising area so you can trigger 7th Heavens. So this just feels so much more valuable. 1 more cost, not a big deal. Okay, if it's my turn and I'm playing cards, I can play at least all the way up to 10. So 7th Heavens for 1 more just feels way more powerful than just this Shield of the Just. If I'm missing something else, some other play, please put it in the comments below on Shield of the Just, because it just doesn't feel that impactful. It feels like another card that could be cut very easily. So, I mean, out of so far, and this is mainly why we're cutting this, is to fit the Holy Waves in. If you're wondering, the last 4 cards here are the Holy Waves, just because, you know, it's 1 less than Magna, but you're getting that recovery still. Also, this activates in security. I cannot stress that enough. This activates in security. Digimon does not, okay? He's a body, sure, but he's not recovering you anything if he's in security. So this triggering in security is, oh my god, it's so good. It's like they swing, and essentially they did nothing. It just instantly replaces itself with something else. I had one where 2 holy waves got activated back to back. Literally cleared 1 holy wave, recovered, flipped it. It was another holy wave. So like it's not like they were in order in the deck or anything. No, it just happened to recover a second copy of itself. Oh, it was so funny, so cool. Yeah, Holy Wave is awesome. I would rather have Holy Wave than Shielded Adjust, okay? So that's kind of where the flux of ratios comes in, right? If you don't like Glorious Burst, you can drop the Glorious Burst to add in more Holy Waves. If you don't have a problem with Rookie Rush, you could drop the Lightning Paws, right? Add in more. If you don't like the Tamer count here, if the Tamers feel too much, if there's too many TKs here, you can cut that. You know, there's multiple like avenues of cutting here to fit these cards in. Even if I just cut the 1 TK, the 1 Lightning Paw, and the 1 Shield Adjust, I'm up to at least 3 Holy Waves at that point. So just kind of play around with those ratios, you know, add in the ones that you feel are the most impactful. I told you the ones that I felt weren't the most impactful, so that's just my hot take, if you wanna call it that. I'm not one to have hot takes on much of anything, but that's just kind of my thrown together like thought process of the Holy Waves feel a little more valuable than some of this other removal. Okay, I know the idea of taking away removal in red yellow control is just blasphemous, but that's just kind of where I kind of think on it. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like and comment, as well as subscribe if you haven't already. If you enjoy this type of content, I try to put it out as much as possible, so definitely subscribe. Also, if you really enjoyed the content, check out my Patreon. I have a link in the description below for it. You can get access to my Discord server, as well as if you're a Dragon Village Inn fan, account takeovers where I help you out with your account. If you're a Digimon fan, I've got monthly giveaway, well, not even giveaways, I've got monthly merch that's specific to Patreon. Stuff like memory counters, custom made. This is the baby form of Vmon here. There's gonna be more in the works also, so lots of memory counters, all kinds of awesome Digimon merch. So definitely check out that tier, and if you're just all out crazy, there's other tiers if you're that dedicated. As well as check out my Teespring. I've got awesome merch there, you know, official Battle Ready Ink merch. Awesome phone cases for you Digimon fans out there. They've got them for iPhones as well as Samsungs, so they are super sweet. If you've seen the last Digimon movie, that's where these are from. I had a friend of mine custom make these so that way they fit perfectly on these phone cases. They look super good, so definitely check those out. But at the end of the day, if you can't do any of that, just like I said, like the video, that helps a ton, and subscribe. It doesn't hurt, but it helps me. So that's what's the real benefit. And as always, I'll see you next time.